Hey everybody, Vincent Pleasant back again for Pleasant Woodworks. Today I got a quick video, or at least I hope it's quick. Knowing me, it's probably not. But I got a video today for the Onefinity CNC that I recently put together. Got the wasteboard done. It's nice and pretty. I love the system. I'll leave a link down below to the person who I got the plans from. It's a YouTuber as well. But today's video is on the Onefinity touch probe and the tool setter, and why you should use one. So sit back and relax and take notes, because I got a quick tip for us beginners that I don't see everywhere as far as setting up the touch probe. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is just kind of unbox everything. So the first thing that we're going to unbox is this tool setter here. I just went with all Onefinity stuff. So when you get your package, you open it up. It's got some styrofoam. It's got a card here with some, looks like, support information. Set that off to the side. You got two screws that they supply to mount your tool setter onto the tabletop, for instance. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use my T-track. So I got, next up is the tool setter here. And it's pretty simple design. It has the cord coming out here on the left side, but if you want to switch it over to the right side, all you got to do is just unscrew these two screws, move it over, and then tighten the screws back. It's pretty easy, and it just lights up like that whenever the bit touches it. Okay, now one thing I did get, which I'll be right back. Alright, one thing I did get is a little adapter here so that I could mount my tool setter to the T-track in my wasteboard. And it's just a little simple adapter. I'll leave the description for it down in the comment section. But I'm going to set my tool setter on this so I can put the adapter in my T-track. Along with that, I may have possibly lost some screws, or possibly the screws to mount the touch probe to the base may not have come with it. So what I did was I went to the old box store and bought a set of these screws here. They're M5-80 by 20 screws that we're going to use to mount the touch probe to the tool setter. Next up is the Onefinity touch probe, and this is where a little tip is going to come from. Inside the box you have your wire for your touch probe. Just open it up real quick, and it's got the magnet that is going to stick to your collet. It's got a clip here that plugs into the tool setter, or the touch probe itself, and then the connector to go to our controller. In our case, it's the master controller. And then we have the touch probe itself. It's nice and shiny. I like it. So, like I was saying, the clip for the touch probe is gonna plug in right here, and it'll set. We're gonna use this to help set our X, Y, and Z axis initially, and then after that, we will just need to use a tool setter to check, to measure our Z height every time we change bits. So, but to get this set up properly, we first need to take some measurements. All right, so the measurements we need to take is measuring our exact offsets for our X, Y, and Z axis on the touch probe. And to do that, I'm just going to use a pair of digital calipers that I have here. So we're going to make sure our calipers are zeroed, which they are. And then first I'm going to measure the Y offset, which is the distance between the edge to this side here with the notch in our top right corner. So I'm gonna set this here and then slide this over until it touches. All right, want to be pretty square like that. Okay, make sure. Gonna measure it just like this and kind of be as exact as possible. Double check that. Slide it down here, and that looks good there. So our first measurement, which is our Y, is going to be 2.14. Write that down here. Or, I'm sorry, 2.124 inches. And then the next measurement, we're going to take our X measurement. We're going to rotate the notch down to this corner here. And then take another measurement. I do not have the steadiest of hands. There's no way I could be a surgeon. But right about there. Yep, looks about right. And that measurement is 2.1115. So we're gonna set that down so it don't move and write that measurement down. And then the last measurement we're gonna take is the recess area here of the touch probe. So I'm gonna come here, there, and our measurement is 0.590. 0.590. So we're going to take these measurements here, and these are my measurements. They may be the same as yours, they may not. It's always good to confirm it beforehand. So we got some initial measurements already taken for our touch probe. Now I want to go ahead and mount the tool setter to the adapter that I bought. So I got this, like I say, this adapter here. I'll leave a link to it. And what I want to do is loosen up this screw some. Set this to the side there. Gonna go ahead and open up my screws here. Come on out. Come on out, quit hiding. And I think it's going to be, nope. These screws are going to be 4 millimeters. And just set this on here. Feed our screw through. Screw it down a little bit. Take the other one. Screw it down a little bit. Take our driver here, get that snug down, get this one snug down, and that's pretty much set. So now, while I got this, I'm gonna do a couple things off camera. I'm gonna go ahead, while I'm over here on this side of the bench, I'm gonna go ahead and put this, kind of lay this on my tool track where I think I want it to go, and then check my length of cord to see how I'm gonna route this cord. And then once I got it routed, I'm probably gonna have to drill a hole or two in my table to route this over to the controller, and it'd be out of the way and not have to worry about getting snagged by me, my wife, or one of the fur babies that may walk in here. Gonna get that kind of figured out real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, so ready to set up the tool setter location, and like my common style, I made a little bit of snafu, just a little bit, but no harm. Well, it's a little cosmetic harm, but no problem. Whenever you, if you ever decide to drill a hole through your tabletop and you have a table like mine with steel bars going across, make sure you know where those bars are ahead of time. So I went to drill a hole here where I was gonna route this cable, and a light bulb went off, I guess, most of the way through, and I was like, you know what? There's a bar right there, and sure enough, the bar goes right there. So I ended up moving my hole over here. Like I say, no harm, no foul, besides just a little cosmetic. So to get to use this adapter here, I'm just gonna slide it in our T-track to about where I want it, and let's say right there. And then we're just gonna turn it to lock it in place. So right about there. Turn right there. That looks about good. A little bit too much. Right about there. All right. So now we're going to mount our tool setter here with the light facing the front of the machine, and put our screws back in. There, this one there. Use our driver here, and I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but this is a 4mm for these screws right here, the ones that I purchased. So got that there, that there, and then just going to show you, this is out of the way. The carriage for the CNC's over there. This cable's not in the way at all. So now we're just going to come around our workbench here and show you what I did. So I got the cable going through there. There's a tiny little gap right here where I have my wire coming through. And then we're going to come over here to the back of the controller here, and there's a spot right there for tool setter, and we're just going to take our plug and plug it in to the controller, just like that. All right, so I have a 1/4 inch bit loaded in right now. So we want to take our machine here and get it over the center, and I'll be dang, that's, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I just kind of freehanded it and it looks dead center. So now what we need to do is take our little piece of paper here, and we need to write down our coordinates of where that bit is right now. So I'm gonna come over here to the machine, And you want to write down this X here and this Y here. So my X is 6.0346. 6.0346. That's our X. And then our Y is 45.7684. And that is our Y. So now we got those written down for our tool setter. We're going to come over here to the F1 setup screen. Window pops up, says password, just hit your enter button. Then we're going to come over here to Auto Tool 0. Hit that, and we're going to click Enable Auto Tool 0. And then the tool setter X position, we're going to type our coordinate in there, which was 6.0346. And we're going to hit the enable button. And then we're going to go to our Y position here. Erase that. And it is 45.7684. And then enable it there. Yeah, come on. Enable. Safe distance to tool 0 is, I believe it's -1. So it's, where's the negative button? Is that it? This button. -1. And the feed rate is going to be 30. All right. And then we're going to 0.0. And then once we have all of this set up, we are going to hit save. So now whenever we do a tool change, it'll go over there and measure our bit length and then come back. Hold that thought. So I just thought about something, and I could be wrong, but I think I want to do this just to be safe. Right here where it says the Z safe distance to tool setter, because I'm using that adapter, it sits up higher than either on the wasteboard or below. So I'm actually going to change this from -1 to just 0. So the reason why I'm doing that, save, and again, I could be wrong, I'm a beginner here, is when we go over here back to our F2 screen, I have the machine set, you know, we put in our X and Y. It's different than this because I've moved it, but we put in our X and Y, and our Z right now, I went ahead and put it to -1. And looking at my bit in reference to the tool setter, you may not be able to see it, but it is, yeah, right there. So I'm thinking that if I did move it back there to use the tool, it may hit the tool setter. So instead, I just went ahead and moved it to Z safe distance to 0. That way, when the bit's all the way up, go to our jogging screen, when it's all the way up there to 0, it's clear. So again, I could be wrong, we shall see, but I'm gonna leave that set to 0 for right now. All right, so it's been a little bit since I had stopped on recording, but I'm gonna get you caught up. I had to go out of town, visit family, but we're back to finish this video. So give a quick recap. I did install the tool setter over there, and I got the touch probe plugged up. One end goes into the side of the block. On one of the holes, there's a hole on this side and another hole on this side. And this part right here, the magnet attaches to the collet. Now, a couple things that I did do off camera, one of which that I forgot to mention when setting up the tool setter, is when you do your tool setter and you go to your F1 screen, you're gonna go to tool, well, you already went over how to put it in there, but one thing I forgot to do is scroll down to where it says tool setter here. You want to tap that and hit the space bar down here. So originally it was set to high. We want to change that, hit that space bar to where it's green and it says low. That way, whenever we do use a tool setter and our program says to go and change the tool, instead of just going over it and just hovering there and coming back, it needs to go down and measure the bit. So in order to do that, we need to make sure this is set to low, okay? Another thing that I did is we're gonna go over to tool changer here, double tap that, and I don't have an automatic tool changer, so we're gonna use the manual tool change there. And I went ahead and put in where I want to change my bits at. It's going to be at the very front of the machine, about a foot from the left on the x-axis. So when looking at it, it's going to be right around here where I want to change my tools. And just once you get your coordinates, and I can show you where to get that from, but once you get your coordinates, you just want to make sure you enable both all three and exactly where you want to change your tools at, and then you're going to hit save. I'm gonna hit cancel for now, and just to show you, like over here where your machine XYZ coordinates are, so I can jog mine over all the way to the front real quick, and right now it's at 17 inches or so, yeah, a little bit over 17 inches over. So it's right here now, but it's gonna be right around here where I go to change my tools. So now what we're ready to do now is go ahead and use our touch probe. I went ahead and loaded a tool first. I loaded a tool and I rehomed the machine. Whenever you load a tool without it telling you to, you just wanna be safe and home the machine. So I went ahead and loaded my first tool and honed my machine. Now we're getting ready to use the touch probe. Now, one thing in the touch probe, to get to it, you're gonna hit this button right here on your once you're in your F3 screen, hit this button right here. And those measurements that we took at the beginning, our X, Y, and our Z measurements, you wanna put those in right here, your X, your Y, and your Z. And then you wanna hit save settings. I'm assuming due to manufacturing or something like that, some of these may be off by thousandths of an inch. So just to put our exact dimensions of the ones we have, we want to put that in there, the X, the Y, and the Z, okay? Now, once we're ready to use the touch probe, we're gonna set it in place over here, and then we're gonna probe the top right-hand corner. So where these dots are, we're gonna touch right there and tell it to probe there. So let's get it set up. There. And let's see here. We want to attach our magnet to our collet. And we want to move this out of the way a little bit. We're going to set our touch probe here. And what we want to do is have the bit start on the top side, but below the touch probe. We want to start it right about there. So let me jog this down. All right, so right now it's below the touch probe, but further that way on the touch probe there. So got our magnet in place. Gonna go to our touch probe screen, and we're going to hit that top right box. Measures the top side. Now it's going to come down and measure the right side of the touch probe there. Boop. All right, and once we do that, we want to measure the Z-axis. And once we get it over it, we're going to hit the middle red button on our touch probe screen. All right, now we can exit that screen, take our touch probe away. I got a little holder over here that I can set it in. And now we have our X, Y, and Z probe. Now, if I wanted to, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it, I can go over here to my F2 screen and then go where it says go to work origin. It goes over to our corner of our stock there. Okay, so now we're ready to carve out our tool paths here. So I use VCarve Pro, and I went ahead and saved all my tool paths to one file. One of the benefits of having the tool setter over there, you can save everything to one file instead of re-zeroing for every tool path. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my machine all the way forward so I can put my dust boot on. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and load up my file. All right, check my cheat sheet here, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. All right, so now we're ready to start. So I'm going to come over here, we're going to hit rewind and cycle start. Now it's telling me to load the first tool here, and I'm just going to hit cycle start. It's going to go back and measure the bit again and then get to work. Alright, so the first tool path done. Now it's telling me to load up my second tool. So I'm going to do that now. Alright, so went ahead and loaded up the next tool, and full disclosure, I went ahead and after I changed the tool, went ahead and vacuumed out all the holes that the first one carved out. I would highly suggest doing that, especially when working with something like MDF, and maybe it's a combination of my dust collector not being as powerful or whatever. But there's some dust left over in the holes. You want to vacuum that out or blow it out before you use something as thin as an 1/8 inch bit, because it can break. Ask me how I know this. So went ahead and vacuumed all that out. It's telling me to change tools, so I went ahead and loaded up the next tool. And now, instead of hitting rewind in cycle start, we're just going to hit cycle start. Alright, time for another tool change and cut out all our parts. Got our tool changed. I'm not going to worry about blowing out anything because it's not re-drilling any holes. We're just cutting out all of our parts. So come over here and hit cycle start. Well, that was interesting. Go ahead and move this out of the way. So, I'm assuming what caused a couple of these oopsies is the parts being too close together, with not much holding them down. I did use some double-sided tape to try to hold them down, but it looks like it didn't hold as well. And couple of my clamps got messed up because of it, but I believe with a flush trim bit, I could probably salvage this one here over on the router table, and this one as well. But the main things that I was going to use these for, or the main tools I was going to use this for, is the two squares here, and more than anything. All right, so got everything cleaned up. I must say I was pleasantly surprised about this spoilboard system. I was pretty conservative cutting through everything, being that this is the first time that I've used it to cut something out. So I did go pretty deep in the sacrificial piece here, but because of the way it's used, it's okay. All I gotta do is, once it gets chewed up a bunch, just do a surfacing pass on it, and this will be good to go again, or good as new. But I did take these pieces over to the router table and got them finished cutting them out. There are a couple spots where it's chewed up. I don't know how much you can see it, but there's one there that's pretty chewed up, and this one here on the inside of the handle is pretty chewed up as well. But I'm assuming, given its usage, you know, putting it in one of the insert holes here and cranking it down on it, this area here, the rounded area here, is what's actually making contact. So I believe I'll still be able to use these two. So, but I got two small cam clamps cut out, two larger cam clamps cut out, a fence here, and two right angle fences as well. My wife wants to make some of those long welcome signs or whatever, and this along with this will help keep things lined up, or probably more like this one, but help keep things lined up. At least I assume so. I won't know for sure until I get everything buttoned down and see if everything lines up. It should, maybe. I don't know. If it doesn't, I'll do another one. But these are all cut out, and I must say the touch probe and the tool setter, they both did their job. All right, so we got our first official project done. Got some clamps and some accessories cut out with our CNC. It was nice to use all of our hard work and put it to use, put it to what it's intended for. But I must say it did very well, and I'm happy with it. So to recap, we did our tool setter and got it set up and programmed in the Masso and on the wasteboard. We got our XYZ probe set up as well and got all of its settings put in. Put the two to use and used it to cut out our accessories. I'm happy with it. I hope you are. I hope I'm not over talking as I tend to do sometimes, but I'm sorry, it's just me. I try to explain things as we go along, show you the things that I'm learning, the mistakes that I've learned, including don't put your hand by the CNC. That's a no-no. I did it. I'm bad me. Don't do that. It's not very safe. If you see something like that going on, just hit your e-stop, start over, fix it, do something, but you don't want to put your hand next to a spinning bit. Just FYI. But thank you for watching. If you feel so kind to do so, feel free to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and hit the bell notification so whenever I do more projects with a CNC or something else in the shop, you'll be notified. Thank you again for watching. Take care. See you next time.